guys, it's Sarah, and today I'm going to piggyback off of a video I just recently did where I talked about some books that I feel like I rated too high. And when I saw my ratings, I was really surprised that I rated them that high because I don't think that I would rate them the same way if I read them today. And we're going to do the opposite and say, did I rate these books too low? Should I have rated these higher? Do I actually like them a little bit more now that I've had some distance from them? Things like that. This is a much shorter list, I will say that, because I was going through my reading journal where I'm keeping a log of everything, and I was going back and filling it in, and that's where this concept kind of came from, because I was surprised at some of the ratings I gave some books that I've read before, and these are like a few years ago. So if you want to see my journal and my whole process for that, I'll leave that video link down below. But these are some books that I was surprised I rated them so low, when I feel like these are books I probably should have either liked more, or if I read them today, would I like them better? That type of thing. And like I said, this is much shorter. There's only 4 books on this list. So a lot of the books I rated low, I was pretty comfortable with those ratings. But there are 4 that I was like, did I really only give that this many stars? So it's been interesting. Okay, so we're going to go by year. So I only have 2 years for this one. The first one, we're going to go back to 2012. Okay, 2012 is not in my journal, but I know that I read this book a while ago. This is before Goodreads, before BookTube, before all that stuff, 2012. And I read 11/22/63 by Stephen King. I remember reading this book. I remember I was reading it for book club. I was cleaning my house at one point because I just needed to pick up our house, and I was reading while I was picking things up because I did not want to put this book down. And then I gave it 4 stars. Why did I give it only 4 stars? If I remember loving it. I remember loving this book, and I rave about it all the time, and I talk about it. And I still remember that book. Like, I remember for the most part what happened. This is a book that I want to reread. This is on my list of I would love to reread these books, because I do feel like if I reread this, I would give it a 5. I really do think this would be a 5-star prediction, even though I've already read it. I feel like I would give it 5 stars if I read it today. So that's why I want to reread it, to see if my rating would change, or to see if rereading it would remind myself of why I only gave it 4 stars. But it's a book that I claim to love, but I only gave it 4. So I don't know why. So I think that's really, really interesting. That was also the first Stephen King book I ever read. The rest are 2016. So the first one is The Last Anniversary by Liane Moriarty. I gave that one 3 stars. And I don't really remember this book that much. I really don't remember much of the premise. I know it takes place on an island, and I want to say it's a woman, and there's something with her family, and she's realizing something, or she's digging into something that came up with her family and their past. I can't really tell you what it is. But I gave it 3 stars, and I'm actually surprised because I really do like Liane Moriarty. Now, I will say the past one book of hers that I recently read, I did not like at all. I gave it 2 stars. That was Truly Madly Guilty. I didn't like that book, but I loved Big Little Lies. I loved What Alice Forgot. And I'm still interested in her other books as well. So I just don't know why I gave this one 3 stars. So I have no idea. Okay, the next one is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I gave this one 3 stars as well. And this is one that I listened to on audio. And I listened to it because I really love the actor who narrates these books. I really like him as an actor, and he is really good at the narration. However, I think this is one that I would need to read physically in order to get a really good feel for the book and to follow it a little bit better. I do remember specific things about this book. It is a fantasy, so there's that. I'm actually not that great at fantasy audiobooks. I'm better reading it physically because I get more of the details that way. Whereas some of the details in an audiobook can get lost for me sometimes. And in fantasy, a lot of those details are very important. So that could be definitely a reason why I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to. So that would be one that I would be willing to reread, but I would need to read it physically. And the last one is The Book Thief by Marcus Suzak. Okay, I gave this one 4 stars. This was a 4-star read for me. However, I have history with this book, and I feel like this is the book that I should love because it's like the concept I love. It's World War II historical fiction. It's told from the perspective of death. Death is telling the story of this. It is about a girl who loves books, and she is witnessing the Nazis burning books in her village to the point where like they want to burn all of them. So she is stealing the books so that not all the books are burned. And she develops this friendship with a young boy as well. And I don't know, I feel like this has all the makings of a 5-star read for me. And I started to read this book way before 2016. I will say that. I remember I tried to read it when we were still living in Tucson, and I DNF'd it because I wasn't feeling it at all. I didn't get the hype. I wasn't understanding. I think I just wasn't in the right headspace. And then I tried to read it again, or I did read it again in 2016, and then I gave it 4 stars. So I definitely liked it better and understood it, but it still wasn't a 5-star read for me. So I feel like this is one I should give another chance to reread it and to see how I officially feel, because I still don't feel comfortable with my feelings on it because it's so strange. So I think I need to give it another shot and reread it, and just give it 100% my full attention. Don't read anything else at the same time. Just this is what I'm reading, and see what my final thoughts are on it, and just like let that be it. Like 3rd time's a charm. This is how I feel, whether it's a 5-star or a 2-star, or maybe it is just a 4-star for me. So I think I need to do that. I think that's one that I just need to do for sure. So all of these books I would be willing to reread to see what my actual thoughts are on them. And it's funny because the ones that I rated highly, that I was surprised I rated them so highly, I would not want to reread those because I don't think that they would be enjoyable. But I think these, I'm surprised I gave them such a low rating. I think I would probably enjoy them more if I reread them. So it's very interesting. It's a very interesting concept. Okay, guys, that is it for me today. So let me know down below if you guys have any books that you were surprised, like maybe you thought they were going to be 5-star reads and you're surprised that they weren't. And you think maybe if you reread them, you would maybe give them a higher rating. I'm interested to know what your answers would be for this, if there's any that you can think of off the top of your head.